Yeah, just to recap the week, coming out of that Bellarmine game and trying to learn from that and grow from that. A couple big things that we really hit home on, it was our shot selection. Our shot selection, taking care of the ball, turnover has always been a huge mark for us as in terms of a goal and taking care of that ball. And we really put ourselves in a really precarious situation in terms of, not controlling the game with our offense. And we got to get to a point where we're controlling that game and making them guard as hard and long as we've had to guard, with all the offensive rebounds and such that we gave up on the defensive end. So defensive rebounding, defense in transition, and we really hit home. Monday we had to take off. Tuesday we did a non-contact day. Did film, recovery, weights, and a lot of individual development because I'm trying to do everything I can to minimize the risk of any type of injury at this point. So yesterday I had a really good practice, and we started turning the page and really locked in on St. John's. And today I look forward to another really good practice, moving forward and going into that a very competitive game with a very good, well-coached team in St. John's. So looking forward to the game on Friday. I know Jay Jacobs was supposed to be honored on Friday. Some things came up personally, so we're going to have to delay that. But we certainly look forward to having Jay in and honoring his career and getting him a call on one last game. And it'll mean a lot to me to have him on one of the calls with me as a head coach. So he's an outstanding human being and individual, and look forward to honoring him.
Josh, 6 games into the regular season, what have you found that you don't do the way you thought? Have you had to change scheme, thought, as you move forward?
Well, each and every game presents different challenges, and so we got to come at it with a different approach, each and every game to make sure we're competitive and put ourselves in a position to win the game at the end of the day. So, most programs, they have their identity pretty much set in stone. They can try to impose their will on teams and really use their competitive advantage each and every night. Sometimes that's going to change with us, with the challenges we're going through with basically playing 6-7 guys at most. We have to be very conscious of that and understand that our game plan is probably going to change each and every night to make sure we're in a position to win basketball games at the end of the day.
Coach, the game itself, it's not the coach versus the coach, but this is kind of a unique situation where, here's Josh Eilert, his first year of head coaching, about to go up against Rick Pitino, a Hall of Famer who's been coaching for almost 40 years. Your kind of thoughts going in. I know it's not a coach versus coach kind of thing, but there's got to be some kind of feelings about being in the situation you're in, going up against the guy who he is.
And yeah, absolutely. He's a Hall of Fame coach and has done incredible things throughout his career, and I've watched and followed him, as my career has advanced. And certainly he's so many things he does on the basketball court and is very admirable, and it's been fun to see how successful his programs have become at every different school he's been at. But I had the same type of feeling going against Coach Bennett at Virginia, and he's done an incredible job there, and I've always really, really admired him and the way he handled his program and the discipline that he instills in his program. So, it's certainly an honor to go against coaches of that stature, but I don't put too much thought into it. I figure out what I can control from a game planning perspective to put ourselves in the best position to win the game at the end of the day.
Is this a tempo game for you? His past has been up and down. I'm sure he's going to go 10, 11 deep.
Yeah, I 100%. If you look at it from his shoes, he's certainly going to try to be as physical as possible, knowing he's got the bodies. He's probably going to keep the pace as high paced as possible, and I'm going to try to do the exact opposite. So it's going to be who can impose their will given their circumstances. So I would totally anticipate him turning the pressure up on us and figuring it out that we're shorthanded and can try to wear us down the best they could. And that was kind of SMU's game plan. And so we got to learn from that game because there is a lot of similarities in that game to what we're going to face against St. John's. So what we can learn from, and I think even I've spoke about this coming out of that game. In hindsight, coming out of halftime, we kind of got into a up and down battle with them when we probably didn't have to. We would break their press, and as a coach, you always want to be in attack mode. And if you got the numbers, you want to try to take advantage of those numbers. Now, we didn't convert on several occasions where we could have probably, pulled the ball out and ran some offense and slowed the pace down. So we got to probably be very conscious of that and try to learn from our mistakes, in the second half against SMU.
Along those lines, your first couple games, how comfortable were you with making quick in-game decisions? And are you getting more comfortable now as you're into Game 6, now 7?
Yeah, I mean, the comfort level definitely, every chance you get to rep that out, you get more comfortable with it. And I think probably the hardest challenge you have is what to go to given what you have in the game at that certain time. So, certain guys require different, offensive attacks. Certain guys out there give you a better or worse chance to change the defense. So there's so many different variables that is going through your head at any given time that, trying to manage those thoughts and putting yourself in the best position to be able to relay what you need to relay, and everybody's on the same page coming out of those timeouts. But the comfort level is certainly it's becoming second nature.
How do you handle Quinn?
In what way?
Well, he's just an emotional guy. He's going to face a lot of his former teammates, his former coach. Do you have to talk to him a little bit?
Yeah, we've already had several conversations. Quinn's passion can be it's a double-edged sword. I love guys that play with passion and that intensity. And what I've told him, just keep that passion and intensity within your teammates. You do that, you're going to be just fine. It's just when you start portraying that to the other team and this is going to be an emotional game for him. I get it, and so we just need to channel it in the right direction. And we've had several conversations already, and I believe he'll do that.
One other thing here, I know he's kind of the story, but you got a matchup of two good bigs. I mean, their guys' numbers are very similar to Jesse's. How does that go together, those two?
Well, I mean, we might, based on what I've seen on film, Soriano, they're probably going to believe he can handle Jesse one-on-one, so we might not see the double teams that we've seen in the past. They haven't shown a lot of doubles. They've shown a lot of digs in the post with a really good big man that they face. They'll try to dig it out as best they can, but they really haven't shown a hard double. So they probably believe, going into it, that he can hold his own down there with Jesse, and so. It's going to be a good matchup. Those are two really good bigs, and it's going to be fun to see them battle.
Story behind the hoodie there?
Raekwon battle. He's it's kind of a show of support for him. He's going through a heck of a lot mentally, trying to make sense of everything that's been thrown his way. And I just want to show a sign of support because he really has. It's weighing heavy on him. It really is weighing heavy on him. And this is a gift that was given to me when I, in August when I went out to the Tulalip tribes and spent some time with him on the reservation and tried to understand the struggles and the challenges and that all those kids and the people of that reservation face each and every day. But when I came out there, they were so hospitable, and they presented me with this hoodie from the Tulalip tribes. So, being that it's the last day of November and it's a Native American Heritage Month, and he really hasn't had the chance to, showcase or express, his skills, his talents. It's kind of a crying shame. And so I just want to show of support for him and know that I'm in his corner and with all the struggles that he has going on. So, he was the only Native American to play in the NCAA tournament last year. He's the only one that's ever got a Division I scholarship from his tribe. So I feel for Ray, and I wanted to show a sign of support for him, being that he doesn't really have that voice. He can't really express himself in the game of basketball that means so much to his mental health, and mental health really does matter.
What's the fish on the?
That's the orca.
Orca? Okay.
That's the orca. That's part of the story behind their tribes, and it is a whale. Yeah.
We're talking about Soriano and how they could probably think, they don't have to double. What about you? Do you think Jesse can hold his own against him? Or?
Yeah, I think Jesse will do fine down there with Soriano. I mean, they have a lot of ways to attack you, so you got to be careful where you dig from or what you do defensively to send a double to them. So between Dingle and Jenkins and Ledlam, they really got a strong four-headed attack, especially from their starting five. So, I don't anticipate Jesse having too much problems with him, but he is a big, strong big, and he can present a challenge in terms of especially getting Jesse in foul trouble. So we've come up with several different defensive schemes to switch things up if we have to try to protect him.
Well, this is probably more of a question for Jesse, I guess, but I mean, through your college experiences too, what do you think is better? A big would rather face the double or triple from guys slightly smaller, or the one-on-one against a guy who's just as big and strong as you? I'm sure there's challenges each way.
Well, I mean, definitely from a postman perspective, you're going to want to see just one-on-one with space. The double team creates a lot of. You can create a lot of advantages from it if it's handled correctly. And Bellarmine, I thought we would handle the double team a lot better than we did. I believe he had 5 turnovers, and a lot of those were coming, making passes out of the double team. So he didn't handle it nearly as well as I thought he would against Bellarmine. But we're going to see it so many games. So I don't necessarily know whether they're going to double, or not double. But we continue to prepare for it every single day because it will be an issue regardless, moving forward.
Just looking at their lineup, do they 4 out at all? They play 4 out?
They will from time to time. He runs a lot of different stuff. He certainly does. And Ledlam playing at the 4 or the 3-4 can really, he can pass the ball, he can create off the bounce. So it's not necessarily he's the option by any means. I mean, Dingle came from Penn. We scouted him last year, and he was the Ivy League Player of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. And we got lucky enough that he didn't play against us when Penn came to the Coliseum. So I believe he was suffering from an injury, the days prior to leading up to playing him. But I remember that scout, and I remember worrying about Dingle because he is an offensive threat and he can go off on you. So they got some options around him. It's not like they're trying to force it in, every single play. And Soriano, by any means, is their one and only option.
Jenkins is obviously the most familiar with him. Yeah.
Yeah, Jenkins has been with him, and
Yeah.
he really creates, and he's a 3-level scorer. He can get downhill. He can facilitate. He can make open shots. So. The best we can keep him out of the fold is going to be to our advantage.
I'm sure when you're facing a coach that's got almost 900 wins, and likes to play fast and likes to do everything you don't want him to do. How do you get him to slow down? How do you?
Well, he's not going to. He's going to keep throwing guys at me, and he's going to keep turning up the pressure when he can. But we just got to be poised. We got to be steady. We can't get rattled, and it was the same message against SMU. And we did, for the most part, we did a pretty good job with their pressure. It was just us converting, when we did have numbers advantage, and making sure when we can control the pace, we don't try to, fall into that realm of, getting up and down when we don't need to. When we can control the pace, we should control the pace.
Josh, teaching guys to, I think, more or less slow down to control the pace, control the game with your offense by being deliberate. That just seems like it's really hard to get through to people nowadays, because when you got momentum, you want to run, you have advantage, you want to increase it. It's one thing to install offense or even change your offense as you have, but like that philosophical shift, is it just conversations or experiencing it, like what goes right and what goes wrong? Or
Yeah, I mean, you can show it to them. You can show them, quick shots and not converting, when you do have numbers and what you're going to have to face on the defensive end. That was a big message coming out of the Bellarmine game. We took a handful of really bad shots early in the clock, and then consequently, we were going down there and guarding for 30 seconds, then giving up an offensive rebound and guarding for another 20. And so we had, you have so little margin for error, and especially when you're fatigued and you're guarding that long, and then somebody breaks down consequently. And so we got to control the game with our offense, and that was the message going into the Bellarmine game. Obviously, it didn't get quite through to them, but if we can learn from those mistakes and be more efficient on the offensive end and be poised with the ball and take care of it, we'll have a chance.
that experience of watching a team do that against you, it can't hurt them, I guess.
No, not at all. I mean, that was something we got to take bits and pieces from every game and learn and grow.
The SMU, the thing that kind of stands out to me about the SMU wasn't like a full court pressure, but it was a pressure that made it difficult just to inbound the ball. Screen, sometimes two screens. Is that kind of what you think Louisville will do too? Not necessarily a full court press, but just to make it work hard to do the simple
They're
things.
just going to make it, you end up burning 8-9 seconds getting it over, and then you can't really get, it takes a little bit to get into your structure and what you want, so you got to kind of simplify your offense from that standpoint, because you've already burnt 8-9 seconds getting it over the floor. So they're going to, any chance they get, they're going to put the pressure on our guards and make it taxing on us to get the ball down the floor. That's the way they play. And so from our perspective, we can't get too complicated. Once we break that pressure, we need to flow right into it.
Sort of a pain in the butt, for lack of a better term, is that for the guard? Because most teams, they'll just let you inbound the ball and bring it up the court. But if you've got a screen and then sometimes screen again just to get it in bounds and do that for 40 minutes, how much of a,
No, it's very taxing.
Yeah.
It's very taxing on your guard, especially when you don't have anybody to you don't have the correct depth to attack it. And so you're relying on one or two guys to do that the entire game. It can really put a lot of pressure on you. And sometimes you can look at different matchups when especially you're going, it's a man-to-man press, and you can get it to a Quinn that isn't getting quite the ball pressure that a guard would get, and allow him to bring it down. And so we're looking at a lot of different options and ways to relieve that pressure and that stress that's going to be put on our guards.
They'll shoot a ton of free throws. Are they a jump shooting team primarily?
No, I mean, they come at you from all angles. They have a very balanced attack, so inside, outside.
Harris and Wilson have struggled some with their offense. What do you do to get some consistency from them?
We just keep on ripping it out. We kept on ripping it out and instilling the confidence we have in them, because we do. We have a tremendous amount of confidence in them making shots, and what they say, water always finds its level. They're a lot better shots. They're a lot better shooters than what they've shown percentage-wise. And so I look for them to have a breakout game sooner than later, and that's coming. I have full faith in them.
Another thing here on St. John's, first true road game, I think. Is that right for them?
Yeah.
So can you hang your hat on that a little bit? Is that something you can use to your advantage?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I hope we play with that tenacity and that protect home court type of mentality. That's our home court, and nobody's going to come in here and disrespect us. And we got to give everything we got and get the crowd involved and keep that energy going each and every possession.
Anything else?
Thank you.